deficiencies of appropriate carbohydrates, proteins, essential fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and deficiencies of detoxification. Do me a favor right now, just sit up nice and straight. Breathe in, breathe out. You just detoxified your system. You changed your system from acidosis to alkaline just by breathing. How many people breathe deep enough and hard enough? Okay, drugs. This is every drug. This is blood pressure drugs. This is cholesterol drugs. This is Tylenol. This is Advil. This is street drugs. You drive down the street in front of the high school down here, it says drug-free zone. Really? 25% of the kids are taking steroids for asthma. 10% of the kids are on drugs for attention deficit disorder. Okay, those are class 2 narcotics. I'm sure they're probably talking about marijuana. Okay, but, drug-free zone, all drugs, alcohol, smoking, environmental heavy medicines, food additives, which are pesticides and chemicals. We've got to stop that. Here's a kid, and you can see it, this 7-year-old boy. His mom brought him in after 20 courses of antibiotics for recurrent ear infections. Now, I know what you're saying. Last year, and this is 2008, the American Board of Pediatrics and the American Medical Association said no more antibiotics for ear infections, that they don't work. His mom brought him in after 20 courses of antibiotics for ear infections. She didn't want to get the tubes. This is him 90 days later, and this set of films is actually 3 years old. He's 10 now. He still has never had another ear infection. So do you think those ear infections were his body screaming that hey, there's a problem, let's find it? Remember that old question, the quality of your life depends on the quality of questions you ask? When you bring a child in with an ear infection, first question I want you to ask, Doc, why did he get it? Well, if the doctor says, well, sometimes this just happens, fire him. Get somebody that understands anatomy and physiology and finds the problem. This kid got those recurrent ear infections because he had a problem in the neck. MSG. This is huge. Now let's say, okay, we're not consumers again. Now we're back to the manufacturers. Let's say that you make the finest chicken soup in the world. Okay? In this chicken soup, you require 4 chickens for every 50 gallons. You require 20 pounds of carrots. You require 10 pounds of onions. Okay? And these exotic spices. Now, this soup costs you so much money per can to produce, but it's the best soup in the world. Now, you're a manufacturer. You're trying to do this for a profit. Do you realize that if you add MSG, you can get away with using half the chickens and half the vegetables and almost no spices? Because MSG is a flavor enhancer. It makes it explode with flavor. In fact, your moderate chicken soup will taste fantastic if you add it. The problem is, it will cause cardiac problems, blood, muscular problems, respiratory, neurologic problems, gastrointestinal, and skin disorders. But also, it's linked to cancer. Okay, this is monosodium glutamate. It's a chemical system. Now, it's in almost every packaged product. But if you look at this, now it's kind of fun because I had a patient. I said, please, I need some food. Will you go down and pick me up a package of Top Ramen and a bag of potato chips? You won't see MSG on this ingredients of this. You won't see it on this. Both have MSG. Why? Because this is what it's listed as. Hydrolyzed protein, calcium caseinate, yeast extract, yeast food, yeast nutrient, textured protein, glutamic acid, bouillon, natural flavor. All of this is different ways to say MSG. Because remember, we're food manufacturers. We pay the guys that get elected. So we can say, hey, look, I really like this product in my food. I know it causes cancer, but it's really, really good and it can up my profit. Wait, no, do they say that? Probably not. Now, you have this list on here, so you can actually look. This is what MSG is listed as. Now, it does cause cancer. It does decrease nerve function. It does cause brain damage. So this is pretty important. Now, soy.
Why does the government allow them to put it in?
Because here, most doctors. I'm so glad you asked that. It's just like I thought you were going to ask. I don't know. Okay, most doctors and dietitians don't know about it. That's because the billion-dollar processed food industry, they pay lobbyists to make it believe that it's safe.
But yet, don't we have a health? Sorry, I can't think.
No, it's called Food and Drug Administration. Yeah, it's called the FDA.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is, do you know how many drugs the FDA tests a year? Or how many food products the FDA tests? Does anybody know? None. Zero. They're not a testing agency. So we're putting our faith in this agency, the Food and Drug Administration, to make sure that everything's safe for our consumption. Sorry, what are those statistics again? Half of our population's getting cancer, half heart disease, 30% getting diabetes. Okay, what the FDA does is they're a reviewing agency. So if you have a chemical that you want to put forth, you do a study on it. You do a rat study. And then once you move from the rat study, then you do some other type of animal, and then you'll do a human trial study, and you run it for so many months, and you give these studies to the FDA reviewers, and then you say, hey, it's safe. They did that with aspartame. Okay? But let's look at this. Let food be your medicine, medicine be your food. Oh my gosh, that makes sense. This guy was smart. So that means, remember the anatomy picture? Anything you put in your body is going to be broken down, utilized, and rebuilt into human tissue. If you put these type of chemicals in these type of food products, you're going to get a sick human being. Sucralose. Have you ever heard of Splenda? Here's one of those chemicals, okay, that got by. Now, again, let's go back to the manufacturing business. Let's say we got sugar, okay? Now, sugar, everybody's afraid of calories, okay, because obesity rates are skyrocketing in America. But let's say that we chlorinate the sugar. That means we take sugar and we blind the chlorine molecule on it. So this way, because the body understands that chlorine is poisonous. So if you take chlorine in your system, it's going to want to get it out as quick as possible. But if you bind that chlorine molecule to sugar, you get the sweet flavor, but then your body eliminates the sugar really quickly so you don't get the calories. Great idea, huh? Problem is the chlorine can break off and cause cancer. Okay, so does this mean Diet Coke, Diet Soda, all of those things that have Splenda in it are cancer-causing agents? Yes, absolutely. Why did the FDA approve it? They made a mistake on that one.
There's 1,000 of those artificial sweeteners.
No, there's only about 5 of them, but they're in over about 60,000 products. Yes. Yeah, they messed up. Now, Splenda will cause the thymus gland and the spleen to shrink, the liver and kidneys to enlarge. Because remember, anything you put in your stomach's got to be filtered through the liver. The liver's an enzyme factory. So it has to work really hard to break down those products. So it enlarges or inflames, and that inflammation is called cirrhosis. So it causes liver problems. Reduced growth rate in adults and newborns. There we go with the genetic birth defect alterations. And it's processed with phosphogene. Now, it's one of those chemicals that was used in World War II as a chemical warfare agent, but it's difficult to bind this. But Splenda is dangerous. Okay, so now what's the other one, the blue stuff? Aspartame, or they call it NutraSweet. Now, this is interesting because it has over 90 different diagnosed symptoms. Seizures and death are one of them. But we have a videotape, and if anybody wants to borrow it, it's called A Sweet Poison. But it is NutraSweet, or aspartame. If it's heated over 86 degrees, it breaks down into formaldehyde, wood alcohol, which are both carcinogens. I'm sorry, what's your body temperature again? 98? Oh, okay. So if it's heated over 86 degrees, so this means if you take it in your system, it's turning down or breaking down into poisonous chemicals. Yeah, this stuff is absolutely poisonous. And when you look at articles, which one's better for you, NutraSweet or the Splenda? Yeah, neither one.